Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. Welcome to your chemistry class of standard 9. Hope all of you are fine and safe. Today, mainly I will discuss about the creative question answers from the exercise of your book and also some extra creative questions. Let's start the class at first from exercise. M.C.Q questions. What is the volume of 2 gram of hydrogen at standard condition? My dear students, you know that at standard condition the volume of 1 mole of any gas is always equal, and that is 22.4 liter. Here 2 gram hydrogen means 1 mole hydrogen because the molecular mass of hydrogen gas is 2. So the 1 mole amount of hydrogen gas will be 2 gram. So its volume will be 22.4 liter. Next question. Which of the following is the formula of calcium phosphate? I hope it will not be problem to you. The symbol of calcium is Ca and its valence is 2. The formula of phosphate radical is PO4 and its formula valence is 3. So formula will be Ca3PO4 2. Now follow the next question. Here there is given one stem, and that is 5 gram hydrogen gas is passed into 75 gram chlorine gas. That means here reactants are hydrogen gas and chlorine gas. So they produced what? Hydrogen chloride. Now how many chlorine atoms are used in the reaction? So at first you have to identify, is this chlorine gas is limiting reactant here or not. If it is limiting reactant, then directly you have to convert this 75 gram into from using Avogadro's number, you have to find out the number of chlorine atoms. But if it is not limiting reactant, then you have to determine the used amount. So let's see the solution. Our related equation is this, then it have to balance. Now 71 gram chlorine reacts with 2 gram hydrogen. So 75 gram chlorine reacts with 2.11 gram hydrogen, but there is given 5 gram hydrogen. So chlorine is the limiting reactant here. Now we know that 71 gram chlorine contains Avogadro's number of atoms. So 75 gram contains 6.36 into 10 to the power 23. So answer will be 6.36 into 10 to the power 23. Now follow the next question. Which of the following is collected as remain in the reaction? So which of the following is collected as remain in the reaction? So here remaining reactants is hydrogen, and here you have to give the answer in mole amount. So you have to calculate in mole, such as remaining amount of hydrogen is used amount is 2.11 gram. So from it is subtracted from given amount, you will get 2.89. Just you have to convert it into mole dividing by molecular mass. So here you will get 1.44 mole hydrogen, and it will be the answer. But if there is only ask the name of the reactants, in that case answer will be hydrogen. But here in the options of your answer follow, there is given in mole. So for this you have to find out in mole. Now follow the next questions. What is the volume of 17 gram of ammonia gas at a standard condition? It is same as number 1 question, because here 1 mole ammonia is actually 17 gram, so its volume will be 22.4 liter. Now how many molecules are there in 10 gram calcium carbonate? We know that the molecular mass of calcium carbonate is 100 gram, and molecular mass, that means 1 mole always contains Avogadro's number molecules. So easily we can calculate like this way. 100 gram calcium carbonate contains Avogadro's number of molecules. So 10 gram contains 6.02 into 10 to the power 22 molecules. So it will be the answer. So this was actually these are the M.C.Q questions of your book. So like this way you can easily calculate. With understanding you easily calculate the questions and solve the problems. Now we will follow the creative questions of your exercise from your book. There is first creative question. There is given 4 gram HCl, its volume is 100 milliliter, and also 4 gram sodium hydroxide, its volume is also 100 milliliter. Now follow the questions. What is a mole? I have discussed, so you can easily write down the definition of mole. What do you understand by empirical and molecular formula? It is also, you know, determine the percent composition of the salt that can be formed by the combining the solutions shown in the step. That means here when we will combine these two solutions, then they will react and produce what? Hydrochloric acid reacts with sodium hydroxide and produce sodium chloride and water. So our desired salt is what? Sodium chloride. Now we have to determine the percent composition of the salt. Already I have discussed this previously. So follow the solution. Here the percent composition of sodium in sodium chloride. Actually the atomic mass of sodium is 23, and to determine the percent composition we have to multiply it by 100, and this will divided by molecular mass of sodium chloride, and the molecular mass of sodium chloride is 58.5. So like this way you can easily determine the percent composition of sodium in sodium chloride and also percent composition of chlorine in sodium chloride. The atomic mass of chlorine is 35.5 into 100 divided by molecular mass of sodium chloride. So its percent composition is 60.68. Like this way you have to write the answer of C number creative questions. Now follow the D number questions. Will the molarity of the shown solutions be the same? Give a mathematical expression. That means you have to determine the molarity of these two solutions. And you know that molarity equal to actually mole divided per volume in liter. Mole divided per volume in liter. So at first you have to convert these two factors into desired units. That is amount of hydrogen chloride you have to convert it into mole dividing by the molecular mass of hydrogen chloride, and this is 0.11 mole, and there is given 100 milliliter volume, so divided by 1000 and it will be converted into 0.1 liter. Like this way, so molarity of HCl will be mole 0.11 divided by volume 0.1 equal to 1.1 molar. In similarly you have to find the molarity of sodium hydroxide solution, and in that time it is point, and in that time it is actually 1 molar. So we can see their concentration is not exactly same. There is a little bit difference, and that is the molarity of concentration of hydrochloric acid is 1.1 molar and the concentration of sodium hydroxide solution is 1 molar. So like this way you have to explain the questions of D number mathematically. Now follow the next questions. 4.4 gram carbon dioxide and 5 gram calcium oxide are mixed to prepare 10 gram calcium carbonate. The expected yield is not met after the reaction is over. This is very important question for your exam. So try to listen attentively. So at first a number question, what is the chemical equation? You know, explain the molar volume of carbon dioxide gas. Molar volume of carbon dioxide gas means molar volume, the volume of 1 mole carbon dioxide gas, and this is 22.4 liter. You have to explain like this way. Determine how many moles of carbon dioxide were used in the reaction. So at first you have to write the related equation. Here related equation is what? Carbon dioxide reacts with calcium oxide and produce calcium carbonate. Now how many moles of carbon dioxide are used? So at first you have to determine the limiting reactant. 44 gram carbon dioxide reacts with 56 gram, 1 gram and 4.4 gram. So there is answer 5.6 gram calcium oxide, but there is given only 5 gram calcium oxide. So limiting reactant is calcium oxide. So you have to now determine the used amount. 56 gram calcium oxide reacts with 44 gram, 1 gram, 5 gram. So there is actually 3.93 gram how many moles of carbon dioxide. So you have to actually at first determine the used amount of carbon dioxide. Here we get 3.93 gram carbon dioxide is used here to react with 5 gram calcium oxide. Now you convert it into mole divided by molecular mass. So answer will be 0.89 mole. And D number question, give a logical explanation of the lesser yield than expected in the reaction of the stem. Actually here the you have to determine the percentage of yield, because here you have to determine also from the limiting reactant. You have to determine the amount of product, and in that time you can see it will be less than 10 gram, because they are mixed these two chemical substances to prepare 10 gram. That means their expected amount is 10 gram, but from the limiting reactant we will get at 8.93 gram calcium carbonate. Why? Because here actually to react with 4.4 gram carbon dioxide, there is needed amount of calcium oxide is 5.6 gram, which we have seen from C number question. But there is used only 5 gram. That means 0.6 gram calcium oxide is shortest here, and this is actually responsible for the not for getting the expected amount of product. So like this way you have to explain the answer of D number question. Now students follow some extra creative questions, such as molecular mass of compound A is 90. By analyzing 5 gram of the compound, this gram carbon, hydrogen and oxygen are obtained. Now what amount of sodium sulfate in gram is present in 1 mole? That means you have to determine the molecular mass of sodium sulfate, and it will be 142. So in 1 mole there is present 142 gram. What amount of oxygen in gram is required to produce 20 gram nitric oxide? Nitric oxide means NO. So when nitrogen gas reacts with oxygen gas, then there is produced nitric oxide gas, NO. So at first you have to write the balanced equation, then from the equation you have to calculate for 20 gram nitric produce 20 gram nitric, what amount of oxygen is needed. Now determine the percent composition of compound A. Easily you can calculate this percent composition of A. I have discussed this type of math in my previous classes. And find the molecular formula. It is also you can do it easily. Now follow the next question. To produce 20 gram magnesium chloride, 5.05 gram magnesium and 14 gram chlorine is reacted. The expected amount of product is not found. Similar question of your exercise. How many molecules are present in 106 gram sodium carbonate? How many molecules? Because 106 gram actually molecular mass of sodium carbonate. So 1 mole sodium carbonate contains Avogadro's number of molecules. So directly its answer will be 6.02 into 10 to the power 23. Now determine the percent composition of sodium sulfate. Very easy. At first we have to determine the molecular mass of sodium sulfate. Then percent composition, you know the rules. How will you determine the percent composition? What is the amount of remaining substance? Here you have to at first determine the limiting reactant, find out the limiting reactant, then other reactant will be the remaining substance, then you have to subtract from the used amount from the given amount, so you will get the answer of remaining substance. What is the reason of not producing expected amount of product? Because the needed amount of limiting reactant is not used here. Like as before, you have to explain this mathematically. So my dear students, actually this type of questions may come from this chapter, and this chapter is full of different types of maths, so you have to practice properly, then easily you can solve all types of problems from this chapter. So today up to this, inshallah we will start new chapter very soon. So up to that, you will be safe and goodbye.